The Oakland A's need to be studied. They need to be studied in owner school on how not to be an owner and how not to treat a fan base. They'll call it the John Fisher lesson. It really is wild how much damage that organization has done while seemingly having no remorse. And it's not seemingly, really. They don't have any remorse. If they did, they'd listen to the fans, the people of Oakland. John Fisher would actually act like a human and talk to the actual people he should be talking to. The fans. The team Twitter account wouldn't shut off comments and censor their fans and fans of any team from criticizing them. The list just goes on and on with how seemingly self-aware they are, while also being happy to continue with the path that they're on, and it's horrible. It really is. I've said it before and I'll say it again. There is no better atmosphere in sports than a packed and rowdy Oakland Coliseum. And when this team leaves in the near future, baseball will be losing such a great thing to the sport. Being a fan of this team cannot be easy. Imagine rooting for a franchise that actively isn't trying to win at all. They aren't winning. You know any good players will inevitably be traded, and you have to listen to the most hated announcer in the game. Your 2024 Oakland Athletics, everyone. The most depressing experience in baseball. So if you're part of the 70% of viewers not subscribed yet, come aboard and join the wonderful subscribers of the channel. As on February 13th of this year, Jenny Cavnar made history, or herstory as some may like to call it, when she was announced to be Oakland's new lead play-by-play announcer for the 2024 season, making her the first woman to be a primary play-by-play announcer for a team in MLB history. This is all a result, of course, from what happened last year, when longtime Oakland play-by-play announcer Glenn Kuiper accidentally slipped up live on air and referred to the Negro League Museum as the... Yeah, I think you probably get where that was going.
Say the N-word, I must.
You can't say that word, Yoda.
Yes, I can.
And this followed in what surprised me as one of the more bizarre outcomes of something like this, as Kuiper was soon after fired by NBC Sports California, who released a statement saying that, quote, following an internal review, the decision has been made for NBC Sports California to end its relationship with Glenn Kuiper, effective immediately. We thank Glenn for his dedication to Bay Area baseball over the years. And that was it. Silence. Nothing was or has really been said or revealed regarding why Kuiper, someone who'd been Oakland's voice for almost 2 decades, would get fired so easily after clearly misspeaking. Whatever word anyone could ever say, nobody in their right mind is intentionally saying a word like that on live television. Now, people did refer to it as a Freudian slip, which means the N-word is a word Kuiper uses often in his own time, and because he uses it, it almost naturally came out as he was saying the Negro Leagues. That's what a lot of people think. There was this interesting tidbit where a person familiar with the investigation said that the decision was based on a variety of factors, including information uncovered in the internal review. Whoever this person was anonymous and didn't divulge specific details because the network had not publicly disclosed the results of the investigation at that time. And again, since all of this, not a word. Dallas Braden, the man who's worked alongside Kuiper for years, hasn't spoken on it other than a statement he dropped soon afterward, but overall nobody has really stated the obvious, which is that Kuiper obviously misspoke. What was that information uncovered in the internal review by the anonymous person? Who was that anonymous person? What did they have to say about Kuiper that we didn't know before? Whatever the case is, Kuiper is gone, and maybe it's for the best, because as good as an announcer as he was, at least I felt that way, and a lot of other people did too, he doesn't deserve to suffer with his awful team and future it has moving forward. He can go down as having most of his career calling a competitive A's team. And so on comes his replacement moving forward, or at least part-time replacement the A's have along with Chris Correa, Jenny Cavnar, the first lead woman play-by-play announcer, and boy has she been awful. And this is not an attack on her character, this is not an attack on her as a person. None of that, just harsh criticism, let's be honest, strictly on her broadcasting ability. What Jenny sounds like as a broadcaster is basically if you told someone who doesn't know baseball to broadcast the game and you give that person 10 minutes to learn the rules of baseball as much as they can before the game goes live on air. Just in general, the way she calls certain things, the way she refers to certain things, it doesn't seem very natural at all. And yes, it's her first year, but even someone who is a first-year full-time broadcaster or a first-year anything should have an understanding on how to do the job. It shouldn't seem like it's their actual first time doing it ever in their whole life. I mean, some of these calls are brutal. Her most talked about one has to be when she said a ball had a chance to go, only for it to be off the scoreboard.
The 0-2, and that's hit hard to left field. It is going to have a chance, and Brent Rooker with a long homer here.
Now compare it to a similar moment by Glenn Kuiper.
2-2 pitch.
Left field! And that baby's gone, and we are tied.
Second deck.
Now back to Cavnar.
Over his head it goes, and coming in home, how about we have ourselves an even up game?
Even up game? What the hell even is that? She really sounds like she's just trying to think of as many words as possible while simultaneously forgetting it's a big moment to get excited for, which all equates to a lame and boring call that makes no sense. It's similar to this call from this woman doing a college game.
That one is in the air to right field. Mancini, his favorite color is green trees, hits it out.
Green trees. Green trees, folks. That's my favorite color. This sounds exactly like Kavnar too, which is wild, but back to the actual Kavnar.
All the way out. Seth Brown with a homer here in the second inning, and that changes the score drastically.
Damn, I didn't know one run coming home in the second inning of what was a scoreless game changes a score drastically. Maybe she thought it was an 11-run homer? Who's feeding her the lies? Someone must be held responsible for this. It's very clear what this is and why Jenny Kavnar is even there. Representation. Maybe the A's felt that if they were going to have a negative light on everything and have everyone hate them, might as well do one thing to get love for and positive reviews on by checking off this DEI box, but even that has since backfired on them miserably. Just like this attempted clowning on Jose Siri backfired miserably.
Hey Siri, it's not your night. Mason Miller might have some payback in his back pocket.
2 seconds later.
0-1, and that's launched towards left field, and the payback comes at the bat of Jose Siri.
Is Jenny Kavnar bad at her job because she's a woman? No, she's just simply bad at her job and was hired because she is a woman. Both can be true. This is why it's important to hire the most qualified person for the job, rather than focusing on irrelevant things like their skin color, gender, sexuality, etc. If the most qualified voice for the job happens to be a woman, then so be it. But Kavnar hasn't been good and everyone knows it. This isn't some gender or sexist conversation, which leads to something I actually really appreciate Jenny Kavnar for, and what also leads me to believe she can turn this around. In today's day and age, a lot of people like to play the victim and gaslight others. Not everyone, obviously, but there's a certain group of people, for example, the women who, if they get criticized for anything, it's because men can't handle a woman doing the job, or they're sexist, bigoted, whatever name you feel like bringing up that day, when in reality, the truth is most people don't care. Are there dudes out there who actually hate women, like incels or violent dudes who just are losers? Yes, I'm not talking about them. They make up a smaller amount of the population. Most dudes just want something good, just like most women do. It's not about what they look like or who they sleep with. Yet feminists want to play victim and blame everyone else for their own failures. In the case of Jenny Kavnar, she's not doing that. And I see a lot of the stuff said about her on the internet, the stuff I've said in this very video too. It's harsh. And I wouldn't blame her at all for feeling like crap when reading or hearing stuff like that. I get it. But at the end of the day, it's all about taking things for what they are, and as harsh as these criticisms are and can be, there's simply validity to them, and Kavnar has not once publicly blamed the fans, accused anyone of sexism or anything like that. And just recently, I heard a little bit of her game calling, and it sounded more normal, but thought maybe that's just me. It wasn't that much that I heard. But then soon after, I saw someone else on Twitter say the same thing, and that she seems to be improving. So I'm not going crazy after all. And what I hope is going on is that Kavnar does see the criticisms, and I'm sure it's not easy to take, but that she is understanding where she doesn't resonate with the audience nearly as much as she should, and is actively working on her broadcast game. I already think she's doing the right thing by not blaming anybody or pulling out the woman victim card. I mean, who knows what she says behind closed doors, but as far as we know, she's just focusing on getting better. Will she get better? Time will tell. I hope the best for her. She doesn't seem like a problematic person or anything, but I would also be lying if I said I was very invested in anything A's related other than wanting them to stay where they belong in Oakland. Everything else is just irrelevant right now. Let me know your thoughts. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon.